Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is the International Space Station. We are ready.
WTKR-TV, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Anthony Sabella with WTKR. How do you hear me?
Hi, Anthony. We've got you loud and clear. Great to talk to you.
Yeah, great to talk to you as well. This is so cool. Sorry, I got to nerd out for a second. Very excited to have you and Mike there with me. And, you know, a little bit about myself. Yeah, Anthony Sabella from WTKR, representing Norfolk, Virginia Beach, which, as you know, covers Williamsburg, which is really exciting for us, especially to be able to talk to one of our own on board the ISS. That's wild. I just want to start with
awesome
okay,
to
so
have
you guys
that
have
hometown connection.
Yeah. I want to ask about how things have been going these past few days, just to start. So when did you arrive aboard the station, and how have things been going getting settled?
Yeah, today was the third day that we woke up on board the International Space Station after launching just a couple days ago. It's hard to believe, actually. It already feels like home. So things are going really well. This is my first time here, but not Mike's first time. He's a veteran, so it's been great to have his experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have, I think, people with different experiences working together on something like this for sure. I want to ask, before I get into the questions I sent, is just, you know, being a first timer up there, are you used to the view yet? I mean, this is something that nobody gets to see hardly. I can't even imagine taking that all in.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that view is ever going to get old. You know, Mike's coming up on his 400th day in space, and I don't think it's gotten old for him either. The views are incredible. It's also been amazing just how quickly the brain adjusts to this kind of environment. It's totally 3D. You can be upside down in different orientations, and your brain just reorients and re-references itself. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that was something I was going to ask about you, because obviously you guys are floating, which is so bizarre to me. But yeah, you're able to adjust, and our bodies are able to handle that, it looks like. Whoa, okay.
Mike's doing some fun space tricks here. Yeah, we are floating. It's been really interesting. Actually, one of the most surprising things for me was how sore the top of my toe got. Right now we're kind of using these handrails to hook ourselves towards some structure on the space station just so we can hold still. But it's a really, really fun environment to play around in.
Mike, can I ask you? I mean, like, this is your fourth time, I think that's what you guys just said, fourth time coming up on 400 days. I mean, is this something that when you get back on Earth and you get back into gravity, is that something you kind of crave, being able to just float around and have that zero gravity experience again?
Hi, Anthony. Really nice to hear your voice, and greetings to all of our friends in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I've been an astronaut half of my life, and yes, it's worth it. I waited 14 years for this one mission, and lucky me, I get to fly with Zena and the rest of our crewmates, and it's really great. I did miss being up in space, and I kind of cried about it a lot, so my wife said, just get up there, get stuck in space like Butch and Sunny. So here we are, we're in space, we're not stuck, we're doing great, and we're really enjoying being back, and it's just wonderful to float, and we have the most beautiful planet in the solar system.
Yeah, we do. I want to ask you guys a little bit about the work that you're going to be doing aboard the International Space Station. How long are you planning to be up there? And just talk about the research and how important it is.
Yeah, we're right now planned for a 6-month mission with the opportunity to extend that mission as long as 8 months, plus or minus. It's always flexible. And during that time, we'll be doing a lot of scientific research, including Earth observations, some really interesting fundamental physics experiments. One of the ones that I find most valuable is experiments on the human body. A lot of the things that our bodies as astronauts in space experience are very similar to things that immunocompromised or aging populations on Earth experience. And so tracking how our bodies adapt to, are affected by, and recover from these stressors is hopefully going to help people back home.
Is this something too that could help maybe future space missions as well? I know that NASA's working on the Artemis mission. I've covered that a lot, like Langley's involvement here in Hampton Roads. And obviously astronauts, the goal is to have them in space a lot longer, making these further journeys. Is this something that can help with that down the line?
Absolutely, and that's something, of course, as astronauts, we're very interested in. A lot of what we're doing on the International Space Station is getting ready to go farther and farther afield and for long durations. We've been to the moon before, but we haven't been there for long durations like we are working here on the International Space Station. The ISS is 250 miles above the Earth. The moon is 1,000 times farther than that. And Mars is even 1,000 times further than that. And so we've got a lot to learn, and I'm really glad that we're laying the footwork here on the ISS.
Zena, I do want to ask you to make sure we get this in. Just, your upbringing in Williamsburg. I was reading your bio on NASA.gov, and it says that you consider Williamsburg your hometown. From what I understand, your parents still live there. Can you just talk about, I guess, the impact growing up in Hampton Roads had on you, and maybe how any experiences you had here at home that kind of led you to becoming an astronaut and where you're at now?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Williamsburg still feels very much like home for me. My mom still lives there. My father actually passed away about a year ago, so I'll be looking down from above on Thanksgiving this year and enjoying knowing that my family are all there celebrating together. For me, one of the, I think, most influential parts about being in Williamsburg were some of the teachers that I had. I went to Bruton High School and public schools all growing up in Williamsburg, and I had so many really wonderful mentors there. One of the most important ones for me was my high school biology teacher, Mr. Davis. He really sent me on the path of not only loving science and life sciences, but also pursuing my own research, even as a high school student and then college student. And I think that really opened a lot of doors for me.
That's awesome. I do want to ask you, and I have some questions for Mike too. Don't worry, Mike. I do want to ask you though, and forgive me if I'm not updated on who's been picked for this, but Zena, I remember, I first heard of you when you were kind of selected, maybe as a finalist, I want to say, to be potentially the first woman to walk on the moon. Are you still involved with the Artemis program in that way? Is there any updates on kind of that selection process and kind of your future with NASA from here?
Yeah, right now we have one crew actually assigned to an Artemis mission. This is the Artemis 2 flight, which actually should fly around the moon while we are here on the International Space Station. I really, really hope that we get to watch that from this vantage point. And so that crew is assigned. The crews after that haven't been assigned yet, and officially everybody who is an active astronaut right now is eligible for assignment to future Artemis missions. But we're all deeply involved in preparations for those missions, whether that's development on the scientific side or some of the landing vehicle development or the lunar rovers that we'll be working with in the future. So it's been really neat to get involved this early in a program like that.
All right, so true team effort, it sounds like. Of course, that's really exciting. You got to be. I just want to. What was going through your mind, I guess, when you finally got to blast off, because you were selected for the program 8 years ago, and when you're selected to be an astronaut, of course, you're like, I'm going to space. It takes a while. What's going through your mind when you're in this rocket leaving the Earth, and you're finally here? Because 8 years is a long time to wait.
Yeah, it's a long time, but first of all, it was worth the wait. I can tell you that. I would say the number one thing going through my mind was maybe a little bit of disbelief. Mike can probably attest. He was sitting next to me in our Dragon capsule. We had scrubbed our launch attempt the day prior at about 50 seconds just before launch. And so we got down to 56 seconds to launch on our actual launch day, and with every second we were closer and closer to space than I had ever been. When we got down to 5 seconds, a few seconds left, and then it's T0, you see the engine light indicator on your displays, and then you actually feel the force of the rocket taking off. It's hard to wrap your mind around, but the whole way up, I was pretty excited. I was trying not to giggle.
And Mike, I guess, having your experience, I mean, that's so important to have somebody who's done this before. And obviously you were saying already, you were so excited, you couldn't wait to be able to go back. But I guess what's it like for you then to also be the experienced one and be able to see other astronauts realize this dream and to, I guess, be a part of that with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was really special for me and Kimiya Yui-san, who had already been in space before, to welcome Zena to space. It was really a special moment. And then when she got to see Earth for the first time, it was just as cool for us to watch one of our friends. And that's the sign of any good team, right? Whether it's a sports team or an academic team or whatever, it's just a good team is when you have people with experience passing on some information and learning from the newer generations. And together we're, powers combined is really a powerful thing. And aboard the space station right now, we have folks that have been here for a while. And we have us guys that just got here, and we're learning from them. Even though I've done this a lot before, there's always something new to learn. So, and then Zena, she's a really sharp cookie, a really great person to be in space with, and it definitely was worth the wait to go fly with her.
What keeps you going back to space, Mike? I mean, 400 days in zero gravity, it's a lot. People have spent a lot of time in space, but at the same time, I mean, that is a long time to be away from your family. So what keeps you going back and keeps you, I guess, passionate about your career and the opportunities?
Well, I, among all of my colleagues, including Zena here, we really believe in the NASA mission. We really believe in human exploration. We really believe that humans are going to be going to the moon and Mars and the whole solar system, if not to the stars. And being part of that team of humans working together from all over the world to try to make things better, not just here in space, but also on planet Earth. Man, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to keep doing that? I, for one, am very lucky and grateful to be part of it all. And every day, just like my other colleagues, we all try to contribute as much as we can to the mission. And it's wicked fun.
You guys talked about, just one of the surprising things about being in space is how well our bodies can adjust to it. Is there anything else that people might not realize? We grow up hearing about the food and we hear about certain aspects, but is there anything, I guess, maybe Zena, that caught you off guard when you first got aboard that you did not even ever think about?
Yeah, it's funny. In a lot of ways, it's very much like I expected because we spend so long training. It's really phenomenal, the teams that we have on the ground who help us prepare for a mission like this. It was wild showing up to a place I had never been to before, and it feels so familiar because it's just like we trained in Johnson Space Center and around the world, really. We have so many international partners. We're here in the Japanese module Kibo at the moment. The muscles adapting has been a really interesting thing. We got to work out for the first time. Yesterday was our first workout, and we work out every day up here just to keep our bone density and our muscle mass good to go. But the way that we work out here has been really interesting to adjust to. You have to really get like a different form than I'm used to on the Earth.
For sure. What was the first thing that you did when you got aboard a couple of days ago? I guess, what does that look like? What does that process look like? And then what's like the first thing that you do when you finally make it to the ISS?
It's a bit of a whirlwind of a day, from the time we woke up in our Dragon capsule, we had a couple hours to rest. We were on the docking axis pretty quickly coming in. We've got a lot of work to do to get the Dragon docked to the space station. And then to get that hatch open takes a lot of time and work as well. And so we were peering through our little hatch window pretty early. It was just absolutely mind-blowing to see friends and colleagues who I know well on the other side of that hatch ready to greet us. We opened the hatch doors, and the first thing that I wanted to do after we said our hello to the International Space Station was to see the cupola window, and it was so special to get to see my classmate Johnny Kim taking me to the cupola for the very first time and gazing down on Earth through this like marvelous giant bay window that we have looking down on our home.
I've heard that it really like puts things into perspective, I guess, just how precious our planet is. I want to say maybe it was William Shatner, honestly, who I saw quoted about it. But I mean, is that the case? I mean, it's got to be so surreal, but it's also like just a different view than most people are ever going to get.
Yeah, it's such an incredible perspective. You know, I always look out the window on airplanes when I'm flying, and you get to see these patterns and shapes that you wouldn't notice when you're down on the ground. And being up here, that effect is just amplified by orders of magnitude. When I first looked out the cupola window, it was kind of twilight, and so we had these really long shadows. You could see this 3D texture of the clouds, and you're going over the ground so quickly. It takes only 90 minutes to get all the way around the Earth, going almost 18,000 miles an hour across the ground. And it's very humbling and really unifying for me, especially sharing that with an international crew.
They're giving me a couple of minutes left, so I just want to make sure I get my last couple of questions in, and then if we have more time, I'll just fire away things. But a couple more questions. What impact do you hope that your work has going forward? And you already kind of touched on that. And then Zena, specifically, you know, do you have a message for folks, your family, friends, folks down here in Hampton Roads and Williamsburg? Anything you want people to know, and any message you have for our area?
My gosh, absolutely. Hampton Roads in Williamsburg is why I am who I am. So thank you is my message, first of all, for shaping my life, shaping my career, especially the teachers who work so hard every single day to set students up for these brilliant, wonderful, promising futures. And to students who are growing up in Hampton Roads right now and to everywhere across the globe, don't be the one to hold yourself back. Take chances. Don't wait until somebody tells you that you're ready to go work in a lab or go start an art project. Just pursue it from the time you're young, and there's so much to explore. I think for a lot of us, the jobs that we want don't exist yet. Don't be afraid to invent them.
Great. Love that. And then, yeah, just, you know, your hopes for impacts from your research and what's next? What comes next?
I hope for all of us on the International Space Station that our research is not only impacting our ability to go to the moon for longer durations, eventually to planets like Mars, but also helping the people at home on Earth. The medical research that we talked about, we've also got so many materials science experiments up here that we really can't do on Earth. It's a really phenomenal laboratory full of research day in and day out. So I'm really excited to see the impacts of that research. But I also hope that the work that we're doing here inspires the next generation to come invent something even grander and more collaborative than this.
Perfect. I think that's all the time I have. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to talk with me here. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Stay safe, and we're really excited to see one of our own up there doing great things.
Thank you so much from both Mike and I. It's a treat to talk to you.
Yeah, Mike, you were cracking me up. I appreciate that.
Station, this is Houston ACR.
He's a great crewmate.
Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming
Station,
operational
great event.
audio communication.
Thank you very much.